Okay, good morning. No new content over Easter, I'll focus that. But I thought we'd just do a couple of revision videos and on statistics. And this morning I'm going to do some histograms stuff. And I've attached the Maths Genie questions and answers. And I'm going to go through a couple of them now. So firstly, a reminder that with a histogram, the area of the bar needs to be equal to the frequency, not the height of the bar, but the area of the bar. And interestingly, every question on this in this Maths Genie set of questions describes the groups in this way here. Now, we're perhaps used to seeing groups described like this, where we've got the first group goes from 0 to 10 and would include 10. The next group goes from 10 to 20. The groups have got a width of 10, and that will still crop up at A level, but these are all slightly different. We're told these are times rounded to the nearest second, so we need to understand that this group here actually goes from 0.5 all the way to 4.5. That's the width of that group, and the next group therefore goes from 4.5 to 8.5, etc., etc. So we need to consider the error intervals here, which we don't have to here. It's much easier, isn't it? So the frequency needs to be our area, so we need to consider the width and the height of those bars, and the height, if you remember, is referred to as frequency density. They've drawn for us the second bar. So the second bar doesn't have a width of 3, actually has a width of 4, from 4.5 to 8.5. So that means that its height has to be 3 if its area is going to be 12. So that means that that is 3. So what you should now be able to do is to work out how that axis is scaled. And then they've drawn this bar, which is for this group here. Remember, that goes from 10.5 to 15.5. So you should be able to work out the frequency of that group by working out the area of that bar once you've scaled that axis. Pause and have a go. Okay, so knowing that that was 3 meant that I had 15 squares, so 15 divided by 3 is 5, so each 5 squares was 1 unit. The bar that I'm talking about in this set part of the question is 2 high, its width is 5, so 5 times 2, its frequency is 10. I'm sure you could draw the rest of the histogram, I'm not going to bother doing that. Right, over the page then, we've got a sequence of questions which are on a similar theme, but there's no drawing involved. This first question talks about this group here. Again, these are measurements measured to the nearest whole number, so this group is actually 8.5 to 13.5. So again, that's a width of 5. But they tell us that its width is actually 2 centimetres and a height of 2.7 centimetres. And they already tell us the frequency. So we've got a little bit of scaling going on here. We need to work out the scale of this graph, and we need to work out what a height of 2.7 centimetres actually represents in terms of frequency density. So again, pause here and see if you can work out what's going on. I'm going to get another piece of paper and set this out in columns because I find that a whole lot easier. Okay, so the 9 to 13 group actually goes from 8.5 to 13.5. 8.5 could be in it, 13.5 couldn't. And we're told it's got a frequency of 9. So the width of that group is 5. So that means its height has to be 1.8. Remember, you do frequency divided by width if it's not obvious what the height is. But we're told that actually when they came to draw it, it had a width of 2 and a height of 2.7. So there's a scale factor involved, a multiplier. I always do after divided by before to work out the multiplier. So 2 divided by 5, they've multiplied that by 0.4. And the height, they've multiplied by 1.5. So now we're asked to consider the 14 to 20 group. Okay, so here's the 14 to 20 group. It actually goes from 13.5 to 20.5. Its frequency is 14. 13.5 to 20.5 is a width of 7, so its height has to be 2. But I need to apply the same scale factors that they've used with the first bar. So that's going to be 2.8 centimetres, and that's going to be 3 centimetres. So when they actually draw this bar, it will have a width of 2.8 centimetres and a height of 3 centimetres. And the other questions on there are similar sort of questions, so I'm not going to go through any more solutions, but if you want to, it would be worth having a look at those. And of course, there'll be a page on histograms in your revision guide as well. I'm going to leave it at that. Don't forget I've attached the questions and the solutions. That's the Maths Genie work solutions. They're not mine, someone else did those. And I will see you again next week. Hope you are all well. And sorry, don't forget to get in touch if you are stuck on anything. I will happily get back to you.